Come in, welcome. What's that? No, you haven't missed anything. They're just about to start. Buffalo sports, of course. Everything. Bills, Sabres, Buttes, No, it's not very... Well, they certainly think they're funny. Listen, let me pour you a drink. Have a seat and lend an ear. You'll hear tales of sorrow and despair, endless droughts and infamous tanks, and things Mike doesn't like. Please, join us.
716 Sports Podcast coming at you. It feels almost weird, guys, recording on a Tuesday. My whole week, I feel like, is thrown off when football gets moved from Sunday to Monday and the Sabres are playing, and it was just kind of a crazy day all around. Your day starts off when John Buccigross jumps in and talks to you and throws over $1,000 into a fundraiser, and we've just been spinning in circles all day. My phone is literally on fire. I think the battery temperature has raised 50 degrees because Justin went some degree of viral. He's an internet celebrity and is now too popular to be on this podcast. So
Yeah, he won't even talk to us.
Staring
today.
at the wall.
Someone talking to me?
We got a fat head of his head staring at us. That's as close as we're going to get to eye contact with Justin. 716 Sports Podcast. Everyone, welcome back. Happy to have you here. Recapping the Sabres, recapping our crazy day, recapping probably some Bills for 5 to 10 minutes.
Who?
Exactly.
What?
Before we get into all of that, would like to take this moment because it is something that we are involved with. Please do go to our Facebook or our Twitter and follow the link regarding the fundraiser that is currently ongoing for Niagara County women's hockey, high school hockey, trying to raise money for some players that maybe can't afford the fees associated with Fed hockey and all of that. So far, I don't know if you've refreshed it. I don't know what they're at, but it is taking off by the minute, it feels like here. It was over $2,000 last I saw of their $10,000 goal.
It's at $2,100. Started the day at like 15. But
so we would encourage you, if you have, I know the holiday season's upon us here and finances are always tight, but if you have anything that you can throw at the fundraiser, it goes to a truly great cause, and the people who are involved are incredibly appreciative. And
so back a little backstory. After lots of fighting with education boards and school boards, 4 schools agreed to allow 4 schools to merge into one girls Fed hockey team, and no one can really. There's not many girls can afford it, so they don't have many girls, and they're trying to help cover the girls.
Right, because if there aren't at the current cost of everything, there aren't enough players who are able to or willing to pay for it and to actually have this team.
And they'll never be able to get the board to approve this ever again for the most part. So.
And if you followed us long enough, you know that we're pretty big into equal opportunities across genders and everything for sports. And we would love to see this program take off and become successful. And they could use the hockey community here in Buffalo and beyond to kind of give them that extra kickstart to get this off the ground and grow it into something that could be truly special for the players and everyone involved. So again, we encourage you. There's a link on our Twitter. If there isn't a link on our Facebook, I'm sure it'll be up there by the time we post this tomorrow. Any questions, let us know. Tweet at John Buccigross. He's very actively involved in this.
We should probably thank Butchie and Duffer, right, for their support.
John
and
Buccigross,
retweets.
Brian Duff, the guys over at Violent Gentlemen.
Yeah.
John
Hockey
Buccigross
Apparel,
himself donated $1,200.
Yeah,
which is just
good.
amazing.
That's really good.
What an incredible guy.
Yeah.
And seriously, he's never.
Like,
we've never talked to him. He has no reason to even acknowledge who we are. And within 5 minutes of Justin shooting him a tweet, Justin was just looking like, "Hey, Bougie, can you just retweet this so people see it?" Not only does he do it almost immediately, he's like, "Hey guys, here's $1,200." And for those of you who are wondering why he picked that number, it is roughly $400 per player to cover the cost for the season. So Bougie basically paid for a whole line of this team to get the money they need to get through the season. Which
and now
is
Justin's going to tweet at him again and ask him to come on the show. he didn't say that. I did.
Well, Bucci and I both have custom UB hockey jerseys. We have so much in common.
Yeah.
Except for I've never had a chance to wear mine on SportsCenter.
No, yet.
So that's our news for the day. And speaking of news of the day, we are recording here on a Tuesday night immediately after the Buffalo Sabres overtime loss at the hands of the Calgary Flames, a game that had a lot of good in it. And I think when we all sat down here, watched the last 2 minutes plus overtime together, we were feeling pretty good about the effort level of the team as a whole. Unfortunately, though, guys, it kind of fell off there at the end, and that's you almost feel like maybe a point slipped away. You do get the point there. It is 14 points now in 12 games, which feels good. But are we getting to the point now where maybe we expect a little bit more out of this team than just dragging a point out of a game like that?
This feels different than the Columbus game. The Columbus game, they were trailing 4-2 going into the third after having a pretty bad second period where they gave up 3, and they rallied to win. To tie it. I apologize, but that was awesome. They rallied to earn a point on the road. Today, you have a 1-0 lead with less than a minute to go. It feels like a point got away today. They earned a point on Saturday. It feels like they might have let a point get away today. Either way, you will take a point. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
that is a good way to look at it.
But today a point got away on Saturday. They earned a point,
especially since in past years that point that they earned on Saturday they would not have earned, being down even one goal for last year's team in the past few years. That was almost insurmountable.
Well, I feel like we talked about this last week after the game in Anaheim on Sunday. Those are the kind of games that they would just roll over and play dead, and Anaheim would have skated them out of the building and won 5-0. The Columbus game, with how Atkinson and Panarin and those guys were playing on Saturday, could have easily gotten way out of hand to previous teams. And to their credit, they did not give up. They fought hard. They were resilient. I know we've seen that word thrown around a lot with this team this year. But I think it's very valid at this point to say that this is a resilient team. And it's not even just these 2 games. The other game that happened since we were last year with you, they were resilient against Montreal. They were having to fight back and fight into that game. That was like the most fun I've had watching the Sabres in 5 years, that Montreal game on Thursday. It was an absolutely amazing game
I
to watch.
didn't get to watch that game.
Me neither. I was in Rochester at a concert.
Bummer.
Hate to see it.
No, today I'm not. They played really well today, and I think it was an uphill fight for them. They led 1-0 the whole game, but I feel like they had a lot of ticky-tacky, not good calls against them.
Officiating was a little rough.
And then there were calls that they were letting go against Calgary. Like, you're not calling that. You just called the other thing.
Yeah, the Sabres got 1 power play the whole game.
And that's a thing in past years that also would have sunk that the Sabres is the penalties. They just would have gotten down on themselves mentally and just taken themselves out of the game. In addition to, like, say a game like Saturday, if the officiating from today happened Saturday, that would have been a 6-0 game for Columbus.
You guys are my witness. Before the overtime started,
100%.
I said
This is
we're gonna
all
lose.
true.
We're gonna lose this game due to Bristow being too aggressive, and they're gonna score on a 2-on-1 the other way.
Can I highlight that play? They come in on what I thought was a 2-on-1 wrong.
It was a 3-on-2.
But it was a 3-on-2, and Risto has control of the puck. And now it's at this point 3-on-3 hockey. And you made a good point that Giordano did a good job taking away the pass to the middle.
I think you wanted to go back to Jack, but Giordano did a good job taking the angle.
But instead of doing anything, he just kind of went into the boards with the puck, folded like a chair, right? He awkwardly fell.
Yep.
Like face planted into the boards. The puck goes the other way on a 2-on-1. Jeff, you mentioned you wish Eichel might have done a little bit more to take away some space from Gaudreau.
I hate almost criticizing it because it is a long shift. He was out there for almost the entire overtime, and he's going end to end at that point because he was jumping in on the 3-on-2 the other way. But I think from him, it's not a play you like making. It's not a fun play. He's just got to try to lay down and block that pass. He tries to go fishing, trying to pick that pass and try to throw it back to Sam the other way. Instead, the puck gets through his legs. Hutton makes another great save to make the initial stop on Monahan. But then Jack, trying to get back, doesn't get a piece of Gaudreau. Gaudreau's right there. Net is entirely empty. It's a tough play for Jack, and he's not a defenseman. But you've got to try to just do everything you can to take that pass away. Make Gaudreau beat Hutton, because they're lucky that Monahan didn't beat Hutton, because Hutton had to make a flailing save to begin with.
So I feel bad for Hutton because he played a hell of a game.
Amazing game tonight.
So obviously it started with Risto making a terrible no play.
He just made no decision with the puck.
And then
put
fell
it to the
corner.
net, something.
And then Samson was in position to like come back with Jack.
Yep.
But made a really awkward decision.
He decided to try to pinch into the corner and try to turn that into like a 2-on-2 puck battle, but Risto was down. All it did was leave Gaudreau 1-on-1 with Jack. Gaudreau with a full head of steam, and Jack kind of back skating almost parallel to him. If Gaudreau hadn't been out there for a long shift, bet you Gaudreau blows right by him.
Well, it would have been a 2-on-1 puck battle in the corner, and I don't know why he left the other guy just free. I think it was a dumb pinch by Sam. I'm not blaming him for the goal, because I think it's outside of Risto doing nothing, but. If he doesn't pinch there, I don't know
it's
what
a contributing
he's
factor.
I think all three players did something that contributed to that goal, and it's unfortunate because those are the three guys I would love to have out there in that situation.
It happens so often. We're still out in the ice in overtime. I don't ever want to see him on the ice in overtime because He just
Unless-
forgets.
unless
he just forgets his defenseman. He just-
Until we get to the point where we can play Darlene for 5 minutes in overtime, you've got to, or until Gooley gets here, because
Yeah.
I don't know who else you want out there over
That's
Ristolainen
true.
at this point.
I'll take 3 forwards over having Risto
But just
out
to be
there.
clear, it was Risto on the power play, then Darlene, and then Risto again.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could easily have flipped that, had Darlene on the power play, Risto, and then Darlene again, and then we might not be having this conversation.
I
That
agree
pass
with you
by
in
Darlene,
principle.
we gotta talk about that.
However, by having Darlene kind of captaining the second unit, so you have Jack out there captaining the first unit, Risto's out there as a defenseman, but Jack's the one who's handling the puck at the point the majority of the time.
Yep, on his off wing, 100%.
Then when Jack goes off the ice, Darlene comes on. Darlene is quarterbacking the play, and man, that pass he made to Sherry. I know Sherry didn't quite get all of it. I'm not convinced it goes in, even if he does. But the way he threaded that needle and got that in front of Connor Sherry, absolutely. And you can see the vision. Plays like that creep out every once in a while from him. I was reading Darlene was doing an AMA on Reddit today about like his first couple weeks in the league and things like that, and he just talked about how he's starting to play at the speed of the game, no longer just like he said for the first couple of games, there's like every once in a while it would settle in like, oh my god, I'm in the NHL, like what's happening type stuff. But you see a play like that and you immediately understand why he was such a touted prospect defensively.
Even Rittich thought that was a shot, to be clear.
Yeah,
he came out to take
Rittich
that shot
brought
away
across, yeah.
because Darlene, it was like a slap pass. He kind of wound up halfway and snapped it to the far post, and Rittich might have thought it was a shot going wide. I wonder, and I only Darlene would know this, if he was looking at Skinner, because Skinner was straddling the goal line and had the back door. It would have been a bad angle shot, but Skinner was straddling the goal line, and Sherry, I don't know how he positioned himself there, but Sherry was kind of late to the party and he got to the edge of the crease, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, only Darlene would know this. I think Darlene saw Skinner already established at the back door straddling the goal line, and that might have been why it was a bit of a miss. Sherry fanned on it. He didn't get out basically any of it. I don't even think it resulted in a shot on goal.
No.
But there's still the vision, as you said, Jeff, unreal for Darlene to see that play. You know it's good when everyone, including your teammates, are surprised it's a pass. And
Right.
I've talked about this before. Obviously, lacrosse is one of my sports languages that I have the most fluency in. There were so many times on the floor that John Tavares threw such a good pass, the recipient wasn't ready for it. He would, wind up like he was going to shoot and fire a pass cross crease, and the guy across the crease would miss it. And it could be a good player. It could be someone over there, a top tier righty, whether it's Stainhouse or Dane Smith, and they're not expecting a pass because Tavares was so good at threading a needle. And that might have been the case here where Darlene threw such a good
I don't
pass,
think
his
that
teammates
Skinner
weren't ready.
or Sherry expected that. I think Sherry was positioning himself for a rebound.
Yeah, that's true. That could be
And
possible.
I think Skinner was trying to keep the back door open, but there wasn't a lot there. If that pass gets to Skinner, I don't know if he is 100% ready for it either, although I've been very, very happy with the effort level and the awareness of Jeff Skinner in general over these last couple weeks.
The thing about that pass is that Darlene was 2 steps ahead of everybody on the ice. You'd like to see out of an 18-year-old defenseman.
Well, you like to see him 2 steps ahead of the other team. I just can't wait till he gets more familiar with his teammates and you no longer worry about him being 2 steps ahead of his teammates. Because I think that play at this point of his career, no one on the ice is ready for it, including the guy he was trying to get the puck to, which is not what you want entirely.
You mentioned Skinner. How often have we seen that with Jack, where they're not ready for what he's going to do? And
100%.
one of the things that we've said, like when we've talked about signing Skinner, I was talking to some folks at the tailgate yesterday, and they're like, can you pay him as much as he's worth? One of the guys I was talking to said he's worth $10 million a year. I said he's not that kind of player. I said he's streaky. He would have to score 40 goals to make $10 million, or maybe 45 to make $10 million. But
He might score 40 this
right,
year.
even still, you might be able to get him for 8 a year. I don't know, but my point is they have a guy that can play with Jack fluently. It's not like Jack is bringing him up to his level. Like whoever Jack has played with, whether it's Pominville, Oposo, Reinhardt, they produce when they're on his line. It feels like Skinner is contributing to Eichel's game because he can play with him versus Eichel bringing Skinner up. Does that make sense? Like Skinner is not
No,
benefiting
absolutely.
from playing with Eichel. Skinner is complimenting Eichel. Does that make more sense?
I think
Maybe I worded it well.
I
don't
mean,
know.
this almost feels weird to say. I feel like Eichel benefits more from playing with Skinner than vice versa because has Jack at any point in his career had a guy who can skate at the speed that Jack wants to play?
Right.
I mean, like Sam's done it for bits and pieces here, but I mean they've been trying to do it with Pominville, who Steve, you and I talked about
35
this
years
last
old.
weekend. Pominville's played very well with him, but Pominville's not the guy who's going to go on a 2-on-1 rush with Jack and get down the ice and let Jack make a big play.
I was about to say Skinner and Eichel. The happiest guy in the line is Pominville, who was Skinner and Eichel. They're
Benefactor.
extending his career.
It's perfect because Pominville gets to do what he was
100%.
good at in Minnesota. Pominville didn't have to be this fast, speedy skater he was 10 years ago when he was playing very well with Minnesota. Pominville just camped himself out in the corner and casually put 30 goals in the back
Yeah.
of the net because other guys would dig the puck out of the corners, and he's still got a great shot. Palmer's does.
Pominville was top 10 in the league for goals scored per 5-on-5 minute
Yeah.
played. I know that's like a crazy analytic, but the amount of time that he played 5-on-5, he was scoring, 1 goal for every 12 minutes of 5-on-5. That's impressive, especially because you have guys that are power play specialists.
Mm-hmm.
He scored a lot of goals 5-on-5. And I know he had a power play goal the other night and whatever, but he can score. He can put the puck in the back of the net. And it's kind of nice if you look at, we mentioned before, if you look at a lot of these lines, you have Evgeny Kuznetsov, you have Alex Ovechkin, and then you have Brett Connolly or Tom Wilson, or they don't have Oshie on the other side.
Yeah. Well, you don't necessarily need your
Yes.
3 best pure
Yes.
scorers all to be on one line.
Correct.
Because unless you're some crazy loaded all-star team, you would ideally want that next guy then to be starting off your second
Right.
line.
Then you
and
have
whether
depth.
the vision for that guy is whether that is Middlestat, which I think you hope that it is sooner than later.
He scored Saturday.
I think he's getting there. I feel like he's on the verge of just
Mm-hmm.
breaking through for a 5 points in 2 games kind of performance coming up over the next couple weeks. I would not be surprised to see him really turn it on. He's looked like he's been so close to connecting for a number of big plays recently.
You guys know, like Pittsburgh's top 6, and they're not actually been great this year, but their top 6 is Crosby, and then it's either like Gensel and Rust or Hornquist.
Mhm.
Nobody big with Crosby. Then you have Kessel and Malkin on the second line, but they're flanked by Carl Hagelin. So what you're saying is true, that your 3 best scorers do not play on the top line, because what that does is it injects another scorer into your second line. And that's called depth. And we know in the NHL you need that, and it feels like the Sabres are there. The fact that you can have Jason Pominville playing significant minutes on the top line and producing means that you can have Reinhart and Sheary playing on the second line, and that's now 2 guys that can, or Reinhart's actually been on the third line, hasn't he? But that's just it. You can spread out the scoring and get production from more directions. So
And then with guys like Opozo and Pominville playing better than they did last season, your top 9 starts feeling pretty good, and
Yeah.
then you wonder if what's that one missing piece maybe? Is Nylander the next piece? Is CJ Smith the next piece? Which of these guys who are turning it on and playing great in Rochester are going to inevitably slot into that top 9 and top 6? And then, I don't know, it's encouraging just to see, even in a loss. Tonight was a loss, and it's tough to lose. It was shitty to lose the way they did, and it was shitty to lose on a play that they did lose on. It was a fun game. They were competitive for 62 plus minutes. And at no point did a Calgary team that I think is a playoff team this year really feel like they outclassed them.
They have the ability of what are they? Someone from Rochester, whether it be Nylander, CJ Smith, Olofsson, they have the ability to roll 9 great forwards, like 3 threatening lines.
Mm-hmm.
This is like they Sabaka and Berglund just throwing a chink in it. I feel like I got this vendetta against it for some reason. I don't know what it is.
I get it, because that's how I feel about Johan Larsson.
He's playing. I was gonna get at you and tell you how well he's playing here. So no,
Saboka or Berglund or both?
both. I don't see. I'm not a fan of. Berglund's terrible defensively, and today he had a breakaway. He had a breakaway. It was a turnover caused by Larson at the blue line. Made a great. Larson made an insane play. Turnover at the blue line. Fed the puck over to Berglund, and he just panicked and shot the puck right into the goalie's chest. He had room, he had time. The goalie was down and out of the crease. Could have easily made a step to left or right, and just kind of boop. But he just panicked and shot it directly into the crest. It was this plays like that, like a skilled guy there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's at this point of his career, he's not more than a mid-level guy.
And those guys aren't long term.
He can
your
play.
guys like Middlestat, Nylander, maybe Thompson, those are going to be your long term guys. So it's this year you almost kind of
Yeah,
run. I don't know
Thompson
what
and the
what's
draft pick are the
Berglund
real
and
gets out of the
Saboka-
O'Reilly trade.
What's Saboka and Berglund's contract look like? Are they up after this year?
I don't.
We looked at this last
Yeah, I
week.
feel like
I
we
don't
did talk
remember.
about this very
But
recently.
I don't remember
we
how
did
much
look at
longer
it.
they're on the books, because they're obviously not going to be here for the future. And then if they are, they're going to be your 4th line guys eventually.
Yeah, I don't mind Berglund too much. He's not great defensively, but
I think I have a vendetta against them is just that they're
not Ryan
hurting
O'Reilly.
my dreams of having
Berglund looks
Nylander
like
or
a-
Olsen up here.
Berglund's
Berglund's long-term.
long term, and Saboka is less.
They're both
long-term.
here next year.
Yeah, both here at least next year. Berglund 2 more years after that.
It's cheap though.
Yeah,
it's
not a
it's
lot.
not a bad contract.
Nope.
It's an easy buyout after next year.
Or, Justin, let him play bottom 6 minutes and not be prominent, and then
I wonder if Matt Molson,
kind of like Johan Larsson does right now.
Like Johan
Plays
or
bottom
Zemgus
6, not
one of those two are gone next year.
Yeah.
for sure.
I think Gergensons at this point is gone. I think
Gergensen is more valuable.
no.
They might be able
Quick
to
temperature
move
of
him.
the room. Which of those guys would you want here next year, Justin? I already know your answer.
You already know mine too.
Mike.
I'd honestly rather have Larson. I just don't feel Gergensons on the defensive end as much as I feel Larson.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
do
mean,
anything.
if I had to play one of those two guys, I'd rather have Larson too.
What the?
Zemgus doesn't score at this point. He's contributing nothing. He
What
doesn't
has
play
Larson
defensively.
done? What is? Tell me where's
At least
Larson?
I trust Larson in his own
Yeah,
end.
that's.
Okay,
I'd
If
put a little more
both
weight on the
both of them
defensive
are going
end
to put
if
up about
nobody's
20
producing.
points this year.
that's a fair point.
But if one of them has to take defensive zone draws, I'd rather be Larson.
It's not important to me. Like I know that.
No,
it's,
and ultimately,
But that's what I've
ultimately
always-
it's not important compared to your top
correct.
9. It's been far too important the last 5 years because these guys were playing
Playing
top
huge
6
roles,
minutes.
exactly.
However,
But this is also what I've seen Larson as is a bottom 6, bottom 3 player who will pot about maybe 10, 15, 20 points a season and be more responsible in the defensive end. So I'm fine with what he's doing.
Justin wants Larson with Jack.
No, I don't.
He wants him playing on Jack's left side and his right side at the same time.
Ever
I'm
one
kidding.
time said that.
I'm kidding. I had to take an
I
opportunity.
think he came in here with like too hot expectations. Like everyone, he's the bull. And obviously he was traded for the Brian Miller trade, I believe, right?
I think so.
And just came in just
That was
high
St. Louis.
soaring
Yeah.
expectations. Everyone was, but he's not that player. He never was a skill guy. He's your, get after it, go give us some energy, shut down some good players kind of guy. That's what he do.
He does nothing for me.
I mean, his first season here where he had 10 goals and 7 of them were game winners. That's not.
Is that a real thing?
yeah,
Yeah,
he had
that's right.
some crazy stat like that.
I mean, it was.
But
that's
not
going to be your
what he's
normal.
going to be.
That's not going to be your norm
Listen,
from
the
him.
Larson, Gianta, Foligno line was too good. They were
Those
so
the
good.
golden days.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
man.
Foligno came up here and scored like 8 goals and 4 off someone's ass, and I was like, he's gonna be a superstar.
Hey, that dude's still
I
playing
mean,
every night in Minnesota.
I understand the mindset though, because at that point we were so desperate
for anything.
for anything.
Yeah.
And it was we
And he had a
clung to
namesake.
we literally clung to Gergensons like he was the greatest thing that's ever come out of the entirety of Europe, not just Latvia. We're like, my God, Zemgus, Gergensons, our hero, our all-star. That man was a fucking all-star. Us in the country of Latvia made Zemgus Gergensons an all-star. So I understand the thing about Foligno. It felt fair at that time.
What do we got for the upcoming schedule? Feels like we usually look ahead a little bit. We did last week. I know that they have Ottawa coming up back to back here. I believe it's Thursday and Saturday. Does that sound right, guys?
That does sound
home
right.
and home?
Home
What
and
do I
home.
get if I'm right? Look at that. Ottawa
Yay.
on the road. So they travel to Ottawa Thursday. They go
Then
to
Here's your reward.
Toronto.
Yay!
Yeah, I appreciate that. Then they're home to Ottawa on Saturday.
Saturday afternoon.
So you got to think probably Allmark on the road and Hutton at home. That's the way they've been rolling, right? I don't think Allmark's played a home game yet, has he?
No, I don't think so.
He played in Anaheim and
It's a conspiracy.
I'd have Hutton Thursday, Allmark
Columbus.
Saturday afternoon, and then back to Hutton on Sunday at New
Allmark
York.
played Columbus. He played Anaheim, and he played
That's it, right? Arizona.
Arizona, all on the road.
Yep.
So we'll see how if they keep that trend going, and then unless you plan on having Hutton, Allmark, Hutton.
I think I would
That
go
would be smarter.
after how he played tonight.
Yeah.
I would actually go Hutton, Allmark, Hutton.
You always have to wonder when coaches and how true any of this is that they have it already figured out. Like there's times that coaches say, yeah, we've already looked at the calendar and we've kind of assigned who's going to play
Yeah.
where. Who knows if that's the case
This
here.
game doesn't get to overtime tonight though without Carter Hutton.
Oh,
I thought
man.
he's been playing fantastic the last few games, and tonight especially. So that save he made in the first period, reaching back across with his stick, was incredible. And I would not be opposed to going back to him on Thursday, playing him 2 out of these 3 games. Let Linus get his game in front of the home fans.
Senators currently playing in Arizona, losing 1-0 with 13:40 to go in the first.
The good at Arizona travel day home stretch for Ottawa. That's a tough schedule.
Yeah, that's a big time change too. So we'll see how that goes. And
The Ottawa Senators, noted goal scoring team,
yeah, they're
without
4-4.
their 3 best players, and unless Daniel Alfredson comes back, I'm going to wager that a lot of Sabres fans have not heard of more than 4 active Senators.
Matt Borowecki suspended.
That's one of the ones I feel like we went unknown.
He got ejected from a game and didn't get a suspension, and didn't he throw another hit the next game? Isn't that what happened? I could be wrong. He got a 5-minute major and ejected from a game, didn't get suspended, and then threw another hit, if I remember correctly.
We call that in the biz the Radko Gudas.
Yes.
But I don't know. I feel good about taking at least 3 out of 4 points from Ottawa if they play to the level that they've played the last 2 games.
How many
if the
Senators did you
Sabres-
say I have to name?
I think the over under is 4.5.
I can do 5, definitely.
Go for it.
Yeah, Zach Smith, Matt Stone, Matt Duchesne. It's not Matt Stone, is it? I don't even got that
It
right.
is not Matt Stone.
No. What's his name? Mark Stone.
Mark Stone.
Hey, I was close. So Mark Stone, Zach Smith, Matt Duchesne, Matt Borowecki, Shabbat, LaJoy, Anderson. I could not tell you
now
who,
you're just showing off.
who is
Tomas
their
Shabbat.
who's their backup goalie. I couldn't even tell you. Not kidding. Who's their backup?
Is it not
Couldn't
Anderson
tell.
anymore?
Who's their backup? I know it's Craig Anderson, but who's their backup? I couldn't even tell you.
Is the Hamburglar gone?
Yeah, Hammond got signed by. Didn't he get claimed off waivers from Toronto?
It's certainly possible.
That's Picard. Picard and
Calvin Picard.
McElhenney. Come on now.
Isn't Picard and Picard's in
Carolina.
Philadelphia now?
That's what I said.
And that's our Ottawa.
That is
Senators.
all we got, folks. The Senators, which were an absolute train wreck in the offseason, and just when you think it can't get worse, it does get worse because Brady Tkachuk is out for a
The
month.
They're
Hamburglar
starting
plays
to
in the
feel it.
Minnesota Wild system. He's currently playing for the Iowa Wild in the AHL.
They're starting to come down. They're 4-4 now.
Yeah,
They started
hot.
really good.
They scored a lot of goals. When you score 5 goals, 6 goals, you're probably going to win a game.
The old reverse Detroit.
Who won tonight?
Yeah,
handedly.
I don't know if you guys saw, and this does not count tonight because I have not looked at that box score yet, but they were doing a promotion where Arby's was giving away curly fries if they scored a hat trick in a game, and then realized 10 games into that we were never going to give away any curly fries, and just changed it to if Detroit scores 4 goals, we'll give you fries.
There you go.
They finally did it for the first time the last game.
Yeah. And how many curly fries did you get?
Unfortunately, none.
Oh, well, didn't go to Detroit for your.
Did
free
not
curly
drive all the way
fries.
to Detroit. I feel like
Oh, come on.
the gas money would have really counteracted the free curly fries from going all the way out to
It's
Michigan.
been fun.
Yeah, I don't know what the word free means to you, Jeff, but some of us are poor and like free things.
Should have just had them FedEx to my house. Send me free curly fries.
It would be fun. See a different place.
Detroit, the metropolis of the North.
So it's nice though. We'll have 3 more games to talk about next Monday,
Yeah.
and then we have the Bills game Sunday afternoon to upset us, and the Sabres game Sunday evening to bring us back up. So that's good. It'll be a good, decent Sunday.
It's a good balance, the yin and the yang.
They got 2 points in the last 2, and I think they can get 6 of the next 8 here.
Wait a minute. Let's do this real quick.
Yeah.
Around the room.
Yeah.
Who has more? Are there going to be more Nathan Peterman interceptions or more Buffalo Sabres goals?
Playing Chicago?
That'd be-
Oof. Give
Can
me
we change it to turnovers? Because
No.
what if he gets strip
We're
sacked?
going Nathan Peterman interceptions.
Interceptions.
Okay.
I'll
Are
take interceptions.
You're going
Honestly.
more interceptions than Sabres goals.
And just in the Sunday game,
just in the Sunday game, yes. Sorry.
give me interceptions.
Okay.
I legitimately think he throws 4.
Wow.
The Bears' defense
if
is
he-
super good.
If he throws 4 interceptions in this game, he will literally go down as the worst player in NFL history.
The only thing that's going to save him from that is going and completely balling out on Sunday against Khalil Mack.
Like it'd be the bust of Achilles Smith and Jamarcus Russell,
Ryan
and
Leaf.
then Ryan Leaf, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
Nathan Peterman.
Yeah, so let's go around the room. I want to come back to that point.
Okay.
Give me more goals. I think that he might get strip sacked twice and throw 2 picks, and I think the Sabres score 3.
I'm going to say goals.
I'm with Mike. I'm gonna go goals. We're gonna split down the room.
I think calling a player a bust is very related to where they were taken in the draft.
Mhm.
I don't, unless Nathan Peterman, literally, I don't know, throws a ball onto the sideline that gives Josh Allen a concussion and ends his career, cannot be as big of a
Sorry,
pick.
Let me
bust.
clear. I was not trying to call Peterman a bust. I was trying to say they're gonna be having a conversation about busts, like the guys I mentioned.
Yeah.
And then somebody, well, at least they didn't do what Peterman did. that's what I meant. You know what I mean?
Because I was just thinking when you mentioned Jamarcus Russell and Achilles Smith, these being high first round pick guys.
Well, I was clear.
That's fair. But can a 5th round pick truly be a bust? I mean, what
Oh, no.
what the
Just let
coaching
him
staff
go.
expected
No.
of him may have been a little bit more than they ever should have shot for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a guy who's one game at Pitt beating. If Pitt doesn't beat whoever they beat, Clemson. Pitt doesn't beat Clemson. Nathan Peterman's not even in the NFL.
It's probably a fair statement. Probably a fair
No,
point.
he's not even on the map. He wins a big game against a really tough team, a good defense, and plays fine. And everyone's like, all right, well, he's a mid-level arm talent. If Clemson beats him 50-0, Nathan Peterman never comes here.
No, I was trying to call him Bus. I wasn't.
So Clemson, it's their fault.
It is the University of Clemson's fault that we have to watch him play on
Damn
Sunday.
you, Clemson.
So
You
I
give
think
us-
on that note, let's transition this
Clemson
to...
gives
How many
us Sammy
times-
Watkins,
how-
DeAndre
yeah.
Hopkins, and Nathan Peterman.
How many times has Clemson spurned us? C.J. Spiller, Sammy Watkins.
CJ
and
was
then-
really good.
And now we blame them for Nathan Peterman.
Yeah.
At least 3 of those are our fault. C.J. Spiller's our fault for drafting C.J. Spiller
In the
when we
first
already had 2 top-level running backs on the roster.
Spiller was good though.
Sammy
but
Watkins
I agree.
is indirectly our fault because we traded up in a draft full of wide receivers to take him over Beckham and
At the
Landry.
time,
And
we
weren't
thought,
they still
at the
there,
time we
too?
thought Benjamin
Evans.
too, because Benjamin was taken after
and,
him.
and Benjamin. Yeah, that's fair. That
And
turned
weren't
out to
they
be
all
true.
still there when Watkins was drafted?
I mean, Watkins was taken 4th.
Third.
Yeah.
He was the
Fourth.
first receiver
Third or
taken.
fourth,
Third.
yeah.
They moved up to 3 to get him.
4.
4.
How'd that draft go? Who went
Mac was
first?
taken 5th.
Mhm.
Right.
Who went first?
First. Fudge.
Is that the Mariota Winston draft?
No,
Was it Clowney?
maybe.
Let me
I
look
know
up
this.
now.
I know this, and it's gonna drive me nuts because I know this.
It could have been the Clowney. I'm looking it up right now. This is an audio medium, ladies and gentlemen. What you can't see is I'm on my phone on Wikipedia. This is a very
Good old
official.
Wikipedia.
You know, if it wasn't for Wikipedia, I would be,
Board.
well, A, bored, correct, and B, much less accurate than
Please
I am.
don't tell me who it is. Give me a hint because I know who was
Okay.
taken before him.
Well, Justin got Clowney. Clowney was picked first.
Okay.
Second was
What team? Just tell me which.
the Rams.
The Rams took. They definitely took Kurt Warner right there. That is not true.
Marshall Falk, no.
Yeah.
They took offensive tackle Greg Robinson.
Never would have gotten
Never
that in
would've
a
got
million
that.
years.
And then the Jags went 3rd.
And they took. I know this. They took.
You do.
Jalen Ramsey.
No. Wrong
They-
year.
Dang it.
Took. Offense or defense?
Offense.
They took Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles, 3rd overall, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
War,
Wow.
damn Bortles. And then Watkins went 4th. Mack went 5th. Jake Matthews, Mike Evans,
Mike Evans.
Anthony Barr 9th. Eric Ebron 10th. People talked about him.
Even Ebron is good.
Odell Beckham 12th.
So good.
What else is on
Someone
here?
said Odell was overrated, and I
That's
wanted to punch him. 'cause
incredibly
he's
incorrect.
So good.
Jesus. Clinton Dix went 21st. Whatever.
He just got traded.
Calvin Benjamin 28th. He did get traded today. It's actually, I love that the
Yeah,
NFL
he
trade
did.
deadline's kind of become a thing now. It's
Yeah.
actually interesting to watch the NFL trade deadline.
I don't know. Timeout. Sorry, fantasy. I have Golden Tate, and on the Lions, he's a great option. He's like a number 1B behind Mike. It's behind
Marvin Jones.
Yeah, and now that he's in Philly, I don't know. I don't know if his value went up or down.
Down. There's too many guys. In
I know.
Philly.
You have Alshon Jeffrey, you have Nelson Aguilar, you have
Jordan
Jordan Matthews, you have
Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz, and there's another receiver
All the running
that I'm
backs can
missing.
catch too.
There's another receiver that I'm missing.
The other tight
That's
end.
enough
Got
fantasy
it.
talk, Mike Jope.
No, I'm just saying that I'm curious.
We're
with the
bringing back
Gold-
Chuck's Fantasy Corner, starring Steve.
Yep. You have no idea.
We're not
how
even.
much-
We're not renaming the segment. We're calling it Chuck's Fantasy Corner.
You
and
have
Steve
no
will
idea
talk.
how much fantasy sports I play. Just to be clear, tons of FanDuel, tons of season long.
So let's talk about the Emeralds a little bit, I guess, before we go to
Wow.
Bills.
Yeah.
And they're still like, the big. They're still. I can't. What I'm trying to fucking say right now. Oh my god. Blah blah blah. They're still playing really well.
They're good at the hockey.
So Olsen, 10 games played, 5 goals, 10 assists, 15 points. Who are these? We talked about this last week. Who do you think gets called up first? I'm struggling right now. I'm really
You need
struggling.
another
His
beer.
fame
Who
has
do you
gone right
think
to
gets
his
called up first? Pilot, Olafson, or Nylander?
I think Pilot, just because I think we're
You think Pilot's coming
the
up before
defense always
Gooley?
gets hurt.
You think Pilot's coming up before Gooley?
I think the way Pilot's playing, he got hurt, came back, picked right back up where he left off.
I feel like Pilot was almost already here to begin the season. I thought they were close to keeping him up here.
I think they have Gooley under control for a while, and Pilot you kind of dragging him over here, and he is on. I can't find his contract. He on a 1 or 2 year deal.
I thought he was on a 1-year deal.
He's on a 2 year
Two-year
deal.
deal.
So I guess you'd have control of him next year too, but you want to give the sweetest playing time and drag him over here. I think Pilot gets up here first over Gooley.
I'm just trying to think if a defenseman gets hurt, they have Bulio and today McCabe sat for Bulio.
They
right?
sure do.
So they have these guys that they already have as the 7th guy, and
I mean, at this point, none of these guys are coming up until there's a spot for them, and they
but
need them to
if
play.
an injury happens, do they leave McCabe or Bulio scratched and have Pilot come up, because now at least you can justify bringing him up, and you're going to need someone to fill that roster spot.
If it's long term, I don't hate it. I'd rather see 10 games of Pilot and 2 of Boyo than 12 of Boyo.
If you put a player on IR, it's not forever like in
Yeah.
the NFL. You can go on IR for like a week. I don't know how many. I don't know if they determine IR on number of games you have to miss. Like if you declare a player on an injured reserve, you can't bring him back the next day. You know what I mean?
think there's a protocol for it, but I'm not
like
familiar
the
with
NFL
exact...
used to be, if you were on IR, you were done.
Yeah.
You could use that roster spot however you saw fit, but you were done for the year. Now you can one player per year you can designate for return from IR, but you can only do that with one player. And in the NHL, you have guys going on like Pecorine just went on IR and he practiced today, and there was talk that he could play tonight. And you can retroact IR. So my point is, they would need a player injured enough to be put on IR, or else they don't even have a roster spot to bring one of these guys up. So who's going to get hurt first? I guess that's kind of what we're saying too.
Zach Bogosian.
Hopefully not. 'cause
that's a
he's
safe
been
bet
really
usually, though.
good.
It's really wild.
I don't want it to happen. Going off recent history,
He's
it seems
betting
to be
the
the
odds.
trend.
Yeah, going off a little bit of reality here. The Bogosian's been injured, each of the last how many games each season?
I just feel like it's the law of like things are just cumulative. If you're hurt and something gets hurt, you can recover and you can play. But I mean, if he gets hit in that same spot again, it's never going to be truly 100%.
Death, taxes, Bogo on IR.
Yep. Death, taxes,
It
Rousey by
Ben
armbar,
Franklin knew what he
Bogosian
was
on
talking
IR.
about.
It hurts.
Amerks also 7-2-1,
Yeah, so
tied
good.
for third in the league, first in North
Such a
Division.
good start.
There's a lot of good players in that team.
Yeah, and if you want to develop a good NHL system, then that's how you do
It's
it.
Jason Botterill's system.
That's
It's
how
what he
you
did
do it.
with Pittsburgh and Wilkes-Barre, and it's what he wants to do here.
Yep.
Did you see the picture of Botterill on the sidelines with Brandon Bean? Just dwarfs Bean. Botterill just dwarfed him. So that's pretty funny.
In
That's
both
fun.
physical size and actual roster building acumen.
Yes. I don't know. I think Brandon Bean's taking a much longer route than Jason Botterill, though.
I feel like Botterill's route makes sense,
I do agree with you.
and Bean's route
I'm
confuses
interested
me
to see what
sometimes.
Bean does. Let's transition a little bit of Bills here. We're
Yeah,
going to be
just
quick.
a little bit.
We're going to be quick because it's sad. But I forgot what I was going to say now. I took myself off track.
Offense sucked. Defense played great. Good night.
I'm interested to see what he does these next 2 years, especially this the upcoming season with the amount of cap space they're going to have.
Yeah.
And a lot of draft picks.
This could be a really fun offseason,
this-
and we could
this
have a
is
ton of hope come September.
Very easily a make or break offseason for
Yeah.
this team because they have money. They are in line to have good quality draft picks. You have a defense that is playing. It's frustrating because of how good the defense was yesterday. If you get that defense against Tom Brady some other years, and we win that game.
Yeah.
They played so well yesterday. They took Gronk out of the game. I know Gronk wasn't 100%. They did a pretty good job keeping the rushing. I mean, the rushing game with Michelle out was Cordell Patterson being
who led the league,
bottled up.
led him with like 34 yards.
Yeah,
Nobody ran the
no
ball.
running game, nothing over the top. Brady was pressured, had to throw the ball away a couple times. Got lucky, didn't get it grounding on a couple of those. Honestly, there was one very egregious one I remember early on where he threw the ball at the foot of a lineman, and the rest said close enough. It's
I
just
thouking on that call
frustrating.
he got out of the tackle box. Honestly, I think that's why he
Well,
got away with it.
maybe.
But-
I did not watch that playback, but I believe you.
But look at it this way: New England, most years and since 2001, most times the Bills and Patriots play, it's been blowouts. Most of the games haven't even been close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
This is-
Brady is
but-
29-3 now against the Bills.
The
The third
defense,
winningest.
the defense didn't even give up a touchdown until midway through the third.
Mhm.
Up until then, it was 3 field goals, right?
Including when
4.
Anderson fumbled on like the 20-yard line.
Yeah,
Right.
They held him.
They held them
it was,
in
it
the
was
red
9-6
zone.
before the touchdown, and then
They were
pick
holding
six.
them in. They were holding them in the red zone.
Mhm.
Most years, this team, the defense would have given up. Maybe got the first stop in the red zone. Maybe got the second stop, but by the third time, it would have been touchdown, game over.
Mhm.
This defensive mentality is a lot better than it has been the last few years. The offense,
Worse.
I hope they can keep it up because if I'm in that defensive locker room, like what can you do? Like they're playing the best football
You
of
have-
their lives in a lot of these cases.
you have to wonder if some of them have the mindset that they need to get through, do what they can this year, show what they can
Yeah.
this year, keep up mentally, because I bet you that they're thinking next year has to be better.
Well, you said one thing, Justin, that I have a contention with. You said we're sad. I'm not. I was at the game. I spent $100 on those ticket. I was not sad.
I was not sad about
It
the
was-
game. about the future state.
But even that, I am okay with it because I mean, I still have hope in this offseason, and people are gonna not agree. I have trust in Bean, and I think at this point you're like, what the heck are they doing? Because they fudged the quarterback position. But the big thing that they're going to either feast or famine on is the Allen pick. Regardless of who's playing quarterback in week 8 of this season, if I'd have told you it was going to be Derek Anderson, you would have punched me in the teeth and said, what are you talking about?
Matt
But
Barkley.
But that being said, it's all about Allen. If by week 5 next year, he shows some signs of life, and this goes to your point, Jeff, just to be clear, they don't need to make the playoffs next year.
Oh, no,
they need
not
to
by any
look.
means.
They need to look competent on offense. And I think, and this is not me being a Josh Allen fan, I have never once defended the pick. I think by next year he's gonna look okay. I think there's enough there. Now, if he, with what they spent for him and the fact that he was taken at 7 overall, he needs to be bringing this team to the playoffs. That's what a number 7 overall pick should be doing. Mm-hmm. But I think by early to mid next season, he's going to be competent enough to be playing at the level of, I don't know, CJ Beathard, or he might throw 250, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He might look okay. And if that's the case and they start to put weapons around him, could the Bills not become a Jacksonville with an average quarterback? And then if he's really good, then you look at what the ceiling could be, and I'm not saying he is really good, but 2 things. I'm not sad about this season because I did not have any expectations for it at all. I'm not upset about the quarterback situation. People are so mad and talking about how they mismanaged the quarterback situation. To me, that is very short-sighted because Josh Allen needed time. Whether he's playing or not, he needed time. So the fact that it's Derek Anderson, Nathan Peterman, A.J. McCarron, Matt Barkley, I don't care because it all matters. The only thing that matters is if Josh Allen was the right pick or not. That's it.
Too many people have been looking at the short term instead of the long-term build. This team, I've said before, I'm rooting for them to get the highest possible draft pick they can this year.
Bring it on.
Which means I've been wanting Peterman to play all along because I've also didn't want Allen to be exposed to where he could get injured and derail any development he may have. Now look what happened when you throw in Allen, but that's the thing. People are looking at it so short term instead of realizing this team really wasn't a playoff team last year. If Baltimore doesn't give up that touchdown at the end of the game against Cincinnati in Week 17, the Bills are sitting at home for another year in January, and the playoff streak is would be 19 years? No playoffs for 19 years?
So, and I agree with a lot of what both of you are saying. And you can't focus solely on today because you're building a multi-year plan for this team that involves Allen and not a lot of the other things around him. My problem with what they've done in managing, it's not just the quarterback position. The quarterback position is what it is. If McCarron's here, does it make a big difference this season? Probably not. Just means that he's playing more games than Peterman is. There are 11 starting players, and probably with rotations of wide receivers and tight ends and backup running backs, probably 15 players who are key to the success of an offense.
15 to 17, yeah.
How many of those guys would you say are currently on this football team that are going to be part of that success? Assuming that Allen is one of them. Is there another one on this team that you think is part of that successful offense?
Zay Jones. I'll give it to Zay.
Zay Jones has been looking decent with a decent quarterback.
You can say it's you give him one, you give Jones or Kroom or Dawkins or one or two of those guys.
Okay, so we'll say about 4.
Right. So
you're saying there's a long ass way to go. Is what you're saying.
We talk about next year we want to see this development from Allen, but next year let's say that they go into the draft and they have, I don't know if they might have more than 7 picks, but let's say you figure hitting on 50% of your draft picks to turn them into starters is a pretty good rate. Okay, that's 3 or 4 different guys. You're now up to 7 or 8 of 15 or 16 guys. And you now have half the team you need.
But you can cover a lot of things that are going wrong this season by having half the players instead of having less than a quarter.
Right, it's better. So, and maybe instead of being literally the worst statistical offense in the history of the Buffalo Bills franchise, maybe you're average.
12th worst. Apparently, they're on pace to be 12th worst in the modern era of the NFL.
All right, so the Bills have 10 picks.
Okay.
Here's what they own currently. And this could be pretty much all they own because they traded no one today. Round 1, their original pick. Mm-hmm. Hopefully very high. Round 2, original pick. Round 3, original pick. Round 4, 2 picks. Their original pick and an additional selection acquired from the trade of whom? Anybody? Any guesses? 4th round pick?
4th round pick. The McCarron pick?
No.
That was the 5th round pick.
Correct. I'll give you the
No,
team. The Chiefs.
No.
Sammy Watkins pick?
Nope. Who did
Reggie
they
Ragland.
Correct. 5th round, 2 picks. You already got it. The Raiders, part of AJ McCarron. 6th round, their original pick. 7th round, 2 picks. If you get this, you deserve an award. It is from the Carolina Panthers as part of the Kevin Seymour trade, or Kayvon Seymour, whoever.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't. Yep. But
There have been so many
Defensive
Carolina
back.
trades, it would have been so impossible to pick the one Carolina trade that involved us
and
getting
it
their
is,
7th
it
round
is
pick.
expected that the Bills will have at least $70 million in cap space
Okay.
for 2019.
So here's where I stand viewing this, and please feel free to tell me that I'm too pessimistic about it, as I very frequently am. You have 10 draft picks, 3 in the first 3 rounds where you have a much higher rate of success, and then 7 in rounds 4 through 7 where it feels like if you hit on half of those, you're doing very good.
And if you, in the mid rounds, you probably have more success hitting on, say, somebody like an offensive lineman.
A
or
depth
something like
player,
that.
a backup lineman, or maybe a guy who can be a plug-and-play guy. You figure that in the 4th round, this is not always true, but in the 4th round or later, you're probably not getting a guy who's going to change the face of your franchise. Now, that
Not
is
usually.
not always correct, and there are notable exceptions to that. One of them beat us yesterday. But, so let's say you get
Cordarrelle Patterson?
Cordero Patterson. Yeah. He's almost
I
single-handedly.
have no idea where he was drafted. That was a total
I-
bad joke. I couldn't tell you.
He was a mid-round pick, I think.
Anyways.
So you let's say that you get 3 or 4 guys from the draft, and now you have 7 out of 15 guys you need to be top starters on your offense. In free agency, are you able to convince players to come in here without massively overpaying them, or even with massively overpaying them? Relying on free agency has been tough. We haven't had a lot of success with that for the last number of years.
I mean, when Mario
So-
Williams is probably one of your best free agent signings,
Yeah, he was a good
and
signing.
he was after the first few years he was here were fine, but then it just felt like he wasn't putting in the effort.
So let's say they go into the draft and we get a receiver, we get a lineman or 2, and we maybe get another depth running back, a tight end. If we come into next year with 1 good receiver and Zay Jones figuring out who he is, 1 good tight end, and 2 good offensive linemen, is this team suddenly going to be good if Josh Allen is good?
No, but here's my contention, or here's my point to what you're saying. If we agree that they don't need to make the playoffs next year, they need to show improvement, then they have a whole nother offseason. So let's say you're right, and let's say they get 3 to 4 key pieces through free agency and draft picks. And hopefully they focus on the offense, because the defense looks to be pretty well set.
They have a
given the
playoff
choice-
level defense.
And given
right
the
now.
choice to have a playoff level offense or defense, I would take the offense every time. I don't know if McDermott and Bede would, but regardless, they have pieces in place for long
I think they might disagree with you,
But they
I
have
agree.
Tremaine
I'm
Edmonds,
with
they
you.
have Harrison Phillips, they have young guys that are going to be here for the next 3 to 4 years. If it's a 4-year plan, right? They signed Bean and McDermott for 4 years.
Mhm.
So they've got one under their belt where they snuck into the playoffs. This year is an awful year. If all of a sudden next year they show a slight improvement, and then we're talking about another offseason, now we're getting to the point where if they do this correctly, which that's the question, I feel like Botterill is doing this correctly. Over time, he's starting to add pieces, he's starting to develop, but no, we even said the Sabres don't need to make the playoffs this year, but they're showing a market improvement. Nobody's going to be upset if they finish just out of the wild card, but we have expectations now for next year because you have another offseason. So if they show competence this offseason, and their team next year does not shit all over itself like it has several times this year, they're going to have a leash still. And then hopefully, if they don't screw the pooch on another offseason, in 2 years, this team will be competitive and Brady will retire and the Bills will win the AFC East.
In 2 years. Mark Steve's words, everybody. And I
Brady-
hope
Brady
you're right.
was-
I want that all to be right.
Mhm.
And I just
We don't
feel,
have a
I feel
choice,
like,
do we?
No, we
Because
don't.
otherwise, we hit the reset button for the 18th
Right,
time.
because I just feel like we've seen this play out before. A regime comes in, they make their choice at quarterback, pick whichever one you want. He comes in here, he's a project. We love project quarterbacks here, don't we? We love project quarterbacks.
Especially
we
ones you
love
take 7th
DJ Manuel
overall.
or JP Lossman or guys who are like, man, if he just learned how to like play the game. Who was I don't even know if I have a good answer to this. Like, was there ever a project quarterback who got thrown in and suddenly became a mega millionaire superstar?
Tom Brady.
Yeah, but like he was allowed to sit and watch.
Yeah, he had 2 years behind
Well,
Bledsoe.
you got the guy to fifth, sixth round. He's a
Well,
project
Peyton Manning was
quarterback.
first overall, but he went 3-13 his first year. Who's a project quarterback?
Tom
That's
Brady,
a great
project
question.
quarterback.
I don't
You
think
got
he-
the guy to sixth
no,
round. He's behind Drew Bledsoe.
I don't
What's a
think,
project
I don't think he
quarterback?
was a project because I don't think they ever expected him to be the guy.
Yeah, if Bledsoe doesn't
when I
get
think
hurt,
think
when
he
I think
was
of
a
project
placeholder
quarterback, I
backup.
think Brady had all the mental abilities and skills. Like he knew how to read the field. They were just like, man, I wonder if this guy is like ever going to get in shape because you ever see his pro day picture, he looks like your cousin
Noodle
wearing a
arm.
wife beater on the couch.
Could you consider Aaron Rodgers a project quarterback?
No,
Sat behind Brett Favre 3 years.
I don't think it was a bad. I think it was just happened to be behind
24th
Brett
overall.
Favre.
Okay,
He should not have fallen that far in that draft.
throw out names.
No, I agree.
I'm
No,
still
that's
going
fine.
Tom Brady. But those are the 2 names. I
We'll
got
open
on
it up
there.
to the Twitter comments when we post this tomorrow.
Who else was like an early pick that struggled but developed nicely? I'm trying to think of like.
well,
Alex
even
Smith.
even
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean too. Like
you can't even
Alex
really,
Smith's not a bad answer.
Number 1 pick though.
It's not
Yeah.
a bad answer though.
But I mean, who? But
Kaepernick.
who's a,
Like
hi- who's
at
a
this
high,
point,
who
like
is-
Lamar Jackson would be a project
He is
quarterback.
100% a
Yes,
project.
and
if
he was a first-round
That's
pick,
who
wasn't
we're
he?
looking for. Yeah, he was Mr.
This past
Irrelevant of
year.
the first round. He was the 32nd pick of the first round.
I mean, okay, that counts as a project quarterback.
Yep.
But you can't use Peyton Manning as one because
he
of
was
the
first
fact that
overall.
he was first overall and the fact that the Colts sucked.
Right.
Yeah.
I
The
agree.
team around him sucked. It wasn't like he was a project
Right,
they were
and,
trying
and,
to build.
and if the Bills go whatever, that doesn't. If they go 3-13, does not mean Josh Allen's career is over. I'm not
Correct.
trying to say
And-
that. But how many times have we ever seen a quarterback for a year come out and be very average to aggressively below average and be like, his second year is like, oh wow, he figured everything out in the offseason. I feel like that never happens.
Russell Wilson.
I don't even know enough about Russ's first year.
Drafted-
That's why I threw this question out with a caveat
Right.
that I don't know if I
He
have a
beat
good answer.
Russell
to that.
Wilson was
He
third
beat,
round, though.
He beat
but
Matt
he beat
Flynn in
Matt
camp.
Flynn in camp. They paid Matt Flynn
A lot of money.
That
and then
sucked.
but he
True.
had that 1-6 touchdown game in the
How about-
playoffs or whatever against Detroit.
How about Colin Kaepernick?
I don't remember his first year in San Francisco.
He was
but
definitely a project
But did he
quarterback.
make the Super Bowl in his second year? Was it?
It was not
It
his
was
first
pretty
year.
early. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was
That could be a
second
great
year.
answer.
That might be the best answer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure there are guys.
I'm
that were
sure
missing-
this has happened
I'm
before.
sure there are guys that have been middle of the pack, like Matthew Stafford, who's a good quarterback but not elite. That was probably a project and struggled at first. But I don't know if there's
Stafford is the A+ for the paper that was written about Jamarcus Russell. Like someone tried to copy the Matt Stafford paper and just messed up some of the details to make it look different, and it turned out like that guy from LSU.
I don't know if there's ever been a guy though that was a project that turned into an elite. Like Big Ben went 12-4 his rookie year. Flacco went like 11-5 his rookie year.
And we all know Joe Flacco is definitely elite.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal.
100%.
So good. He's having a nice year this year, though. He's
But
having
I
a
just
really
I
good year.
resound with that. You pulled out that Benjamin Albright tweet from yesterday. I resound with that. If Tyrod Taylor, and I believe this firmly, if Tyrod Taylor is the quarterback of this team this year, even if Josh Allen is behind him, they have a winning record.
You know, I
right
don't
now.
like Tyrod, and I agree with every word you just said. Because
You know,
Yeah.
He was one of the first ones calling for Baker Mayfield, and then
Yeah.
he goes in the second comment of this tweet.
I don't like Tyrod because I don't think he's going to get you to the
Well,
promised
we should-
land that is the deep postseason run. But I agree with you 100%.
We should read this tweet, by the way.
Yeah.
The second one, I hear there's this guy named Tyrod Taylor.
No, the tweet in general.
Yeah. If Buffalo had literally any talent at all at the quarterback position and offensive line, that's a terribly worded tweet. That wasn't a misread by me. If Buffalo had literally any talent at all at the quarterback position and offensive line, they'd be a contender.
He put a comma in the right
That
spot.
man
Other than
was
that,
just fucking his keyboard, and that's what came out.
Yep.
Good for him. He tried his best.
I'm not trying to hijack. I'm happy to talk about the game and the halftime ceremony if you want, because I was there. I know Bill was there as well.
Yeah,
we don't
let's-
have to do that now.
No,
But you tell me.
Let's go to the Thurman thing and wrap on the Thurman
So
thing. 'cause
I went to the game, and apparently there's a lot right near the field house. It's a private property lot, and I won't even say the place, whatever. And we were parking with some friends that have seasons, and they said when you pull in the lot, use a code word, and they'll give you some money off. Right? Sweet. So we pull in the lot, and we drop the code word. He's like, "Yeah, that's not gonna work. It's Monday Night Football. It's $50 to park." Not kidding.
Oof.
Not kidding.
Ouch.
So I guess normally it's like 35, but with the secret word, it's 30, which, it's pretty close to the stadium. I could have thrown a football at the field house and hit it, and I am not Jamarcus Russell. So we were pretty close to the stadium, but regardless, it's Monday Night Football, so apparently you charge $50 to park. We had a good time tailgating. It was fun. The weather was surprisingly nice. It was cool, but not too cold. We did the whole tailgate thing. We go into the stadium. This is going to sound like me being such a homer. You hear the people talk about the crowd and the atmosphere. And today, Peter King was talking about how the Bills deserve a Monday night game every year because it was electric in there. Not because of the Thurman Thomas thing. Like, the crowd brought it. And it's hilarious because it feels like the Bills fans always think they're going to beat the Pats, and we all know that they never are going to. But there's this
Until Brady
idea.
retires.
There's just this idea that, like, the little brother Bills are the one time finally going to beat their brother at basketball. Like,
Yeah.
their brother's 2 feet taller than they are, and
one of these days we're gonna hit a over the head 3-pointer somehow when we yelled Kobe.
Yeah,
and we'll beat the Patriots.
There is one thing,
and
that
it
the
has
Bills,
happened.
There is one thing that the Bills do beat the Patriots in, and that's the number of fans throwing dildos on the field.
Yeah, that's 2-0 right now.
I feel like we
at
lead the
last
league
count.
in that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Since
Fun
the
fact:
year-
there was as many dildos thrown on the field yesterday as touchdown passes the Bills have thrown this season.
Yeah.
3-3.
3. Yep.
Mark them down. I feel like we'll probably get a fourth at some point this year.
The guy got arrested.
From Florida.
One of them
you
got
come all the
arrested.
way from
Only
Florida,
one of them.
and that's how it goes.
It's like imagine trying to call your boss from jail. It's like, yeah, Todd, I can't be in today.
So let's talk about the games.
Why is that? Got arrested for throwing a dildo at Tom Brady.
It's about the game very briefly. Defense played great. I knew it was going to
Amazing.
happen. The defense was going to play a great game, and then offense was going to sputter. We got Derek Anderson starting. Let's be real. Played a good game, almost 300 yards, but just, I think the offense is
That number.
still basic offense. They're still throwing like.
You know what was
Third and
fun?
13,
That
crossing routes for 2
first
yards.
drive where they decided to just say, fuck it.
I was getting there. I was like, that first drive was fun to watch, and they did it for the first drive only. Like,
Who
why,
needs a quarterback?
Why just continue doing it? Keep
I
them
couldn't
off
believe they did
balance.
not go back to the Wildcat after that first drive. Even if
They did
you
it
run,
one time, maybe.
you know what I would have loved to see, and I know he's not Darren McFadden at Arkansas. Just snap the ball to Shady and have him throw a ball.
Yeah,
Screw it. Who
it
cares?
was fun.
Make
Like,
them respect it.
keep them off balance. Keep them guessing.
Those first 3 plays, and even the end around flea flicker that didn't end up working. The Patriots didn't know what to do.
It was fun. It was great to watch, man.
They were just going back to that the formula that Miami ran, that team 10 years ago with Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown that just showed up and like,
Oh, wow.
what if we used the running backs only? And they beat the Patriots that day.
Yep. I
They
think
smoked them.
crushed them.
Absolutely
Yeah.
ran them out of the building.
I think it's the first
You
time
know
they
what, though?
unveiled the Wildcat was that game. And it was like week 4 or something like that. It blew them away.
You know what? If I'm any NFL head coach and defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator right now, I just watch this game and think, if I have at least an average offense and can play defense, we win this game. I mean, yesterday the Bills just have an average if say they have an average offense, they have a chance at winning this game.
I mean, the game is as simple as converting on a couple long drives, a slightly better ball
Stop
to Kroom
taking
that he still
penalties.
almost caught.
Can Benjamin catch a fucking thing?
Well, he caught the one.
One. He was targeted 7 times and had 2 catches, including on a play that he pushed off, which was a chintzy call, but he pushed off to get open and still dropped the ball. It hit him in both
That
hands.
was my favorite failure of
And-
yesterday.
and the people-
was Benjamin shoving off and still not getting
The
far away
people
from
were
Gilmore.
so
for the
mad
ball.
at the penalty call because it was a chintzy call. He just kind of broke his route and just kind of slapped his arm down.
I was okay with it because they called it both ways. They
But
called
if-
a very similar play on Hogan.
But New England declined the penalty because it made it 4th down. And
Yeah,
they
because he
punted
missed
anyway.
the ball.
Exactly. If he pushes off and doesn't catch it, and everybody's all upset. I said, I'm
2
more upset that he
catches,
dropped
Jesus.
the ball.
Hogan's touchdown was like super OPI. It was a terrible.
Oh, they
non-call.
were when he caught it at the 1. When
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That-
that
everybody was-
super OPI.
It was right in front of me. That play happened 20 feet in front of me, and he was way more egregious than Benjamin, and
Oh, it
he
was
got
way
away with
worse. Ridiculous.
Yep.
I forget. It wasn't a touchdown.
Yeah.
It led to the touchdown.
Yeah, it
Correct.
was right before the
James
white touchdown, yeah.
popped it in. But then the halftime show, told you guys in the Slack chat, one of the coolest things was it hit halftime and nobody left their seats. And at halftime, everybody's going pee and grabbing a beer and like grabbing some nachos.
The pictures looked amazing.
Virtually nobody left their seats, and the environment was really, really cool. I think that they ran out of time because Berman gave his speech. Thurman gave him his speech because Berman was like the MC, Chris Berman, and then Thurman gave his speech. And Berman went back up to the podium, and before he said anything, they were tearing it down because in the middle of Thurman's speech, New England ran out of the tunnel and the Bills ran out of the tunnel because they didn't extend halftime. I'm not saying they had to, but I'm
Couple minutes
curious.
would have been
I'm
nice.
curious how that was supposed to go, but it was really cool. They
I
turned
mean,
the
Bush
lights
has
out.
more than one hit song. We could have easily kept halftime going. They only played that one song. They could have like gone into Machine Head or Glycerine. We had lots of time to kill.
That was.
I saw Bush open for U2.
That's a pathetic halftime show on TV, by the way.
They've done that every week. I don't know. It's
Was
weird.
that a real show? Were they actually there?
At the fall? No, that's 100% real. Gavin Rossdale live voice.
Okay.
That was not studio. I mean, it was 100% staged at the Falls, and they probably played like 2 songs. They were in Toronto a couple weeks ago. They probably just came down to the Falls and recorded it ahead of time.
It looks. It looked. I don't know. I'm always
I mean, it was
was
incredibly
cheesy.
staged.
I liked what Suzy Colbert said. Let's go down the street to Niagara, or down the road to Niagara Falls.
Let's go take a casual hour-long drive.
This one time, I want them to go to the brand new Canal Side. Feature Canal Side. Feature Buffalo. Not Niagara Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we play our games in Orchard Park, and we only show Niagara Falls, but we're the Buffalo Bills.
That graphic was great.
Hashtag geography.
Tyrod turning around and kayaking down
My
the
favorite
horizon
was McCarron turning around and
fantastic.
raising his arms like he was riding like the Mind Eraser or something, and just pivot, like plummeting to his death.
That was amazing. I also like Peterman kind of like tilting.
Their graphics
over,
team
trying to
is
stay out
so...
Just tilting.
I used to hate those when they started doing them. They're so great. And the one of like Brady jumping off the RV through the table that has his win record on it. They're so
Twice.
incredibly over. They did run it twice because the end of that game was just a disaster. I was wondering every time that they cut away, I was like, I wonder if someone's throwing a dildo right now, and they had to cut away real quick.
There's one guy trying to organize a mass dildo throwing on Facebook.
Man, I was
See
hoping.
that?
Speaking only for myself, I was actively watching the 2-minute warning. Like,
I
all right,
was-
that's
dude,
gonna happen.
I was
Where is
too.
it? Where is it?
I
Where is
was
it?
all over it, and they went right to the sidelines. Didn't show the field at all. I thought for that very reason. You just
They
said.
100% knew that it was a possibility, and they got away as quick as possible. I respect it.
But yeah, the crowd. Back to that, the crowd was great. They were into it. You know, Brady was making some mistakes, and they were pressuring him, and the crowd was legitimately into it. It was a fun atmosphere, and unfortunately, just like so many games, by the mid fourth quarter, all hope is lost, and it was like, well, even before that pick six, it's like, well, if they get one here, they could still be, and then just like that, it's a stiff kick in the nads. But what I will say is, going into the game, I'm like, I hope that they don't, get blown out, and they didn't. Of course, they didn't score a touchdown. They have 2 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Is that correct?
Yeah.
2 total
Yeah.
touchdowns in the last 5 games, I think.
Okay, going back to the defense, they gave up about almost 400 yards, but it didn't feel like they gave up that many yards.
It was the epitome of bend but don't break. They would
Yeah.
they would give them 3 first downs, 4 first downs, because New England I
mean-
think only had 1 3 and out the whole game, but they would give them, and it would end in a
Then
kick every
yeah.
time.
I mean, I don't know. Somebody's got to figure out. They have to figure out the offense during the offseason. Have to.
And I hope that they do, and they can put them out there with this defense or something resembling this
I don't
defense.
mind Dable. Who does he have to work with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. That's why
You can
people
have
calling
a-
to fire him at this point. I
you
think
can
is-
have-
there's
We
no reason to.
absolutely saw creativity yesterday. The Wildcat,
Yeah.
the flea flicker,
You saw.
mean,
Sorry,
Zay
sorry.
Jones running corner routes. Like it was there.
You saw creativity also in their preseason. Like you haven't seen that.
When you had
shit.
McCarron,
Like,
it was
I
creativity
say
because
every
McCarron
week.
can handle it.
A great chef can't make a great meal with garbage.
I question that.
I've watched enough Guy Fieri to.
I just
think you
wish
should
though.
do it.
I just wish that they would somehow be able to figure anything out. I don't even mean good enough offense to win, but I continuously go back to CJ Beathard. He played most of last year because they didn't have Garoppolo yet. He's playing this year. The guy throws for 300 yards a game. He has Marquise Goodwin, who's good. I think Marquise Goodwin is very good, and we find out that he's really good when he had 1,100 yards last year and he didn't even play all 16 games. He's got George Kittle. Who else is he throwing the ball to? Who's his offensive lineman? Who's his running back? The dude hangs 300 a week.
His running back is a kid from Georgia Southern, founded D1 powerhouse, Matt Breida.
That's right. Matt
He's
Brady.
throwing. Let's throw two out there. Trent Taylor,
Sure.
Kendrick
Alfred Morris.
Bourne,
Alfred Morris is
Alfred
on the
Morris
team.
is there.
But my point is,
Raheem Mostert.
you want to talk about not having ingredients, and San Francisco's not winning, and they're not a good team.
Yeah.
But their offense moves the ball.
That's why it's so frustrating to watch the Bills because
Right,
we are
exactly.
our personnel is so inept.
Yeah. Get out of your own way. Like, once in a while.
It's
They
not
can't
just
figure out
it's not
what
it's not
their
just
own
inept
way
to the
is.
point of losing. It's inept to the point of being unwatchable.
Yes. That is a great way to put
Like
it.
when the defense is on the field, I'm like, oh wow, that was a great play by Milano. That was a great play by Hughes. That was a great play by White or Poyer or any of these guys.
And then
That
yesterday you
play
have
by
Dick-
Edmonds to get in front of Gronkowski yesterday.
And then you have Derek Anderson throwing the ball into, or not Derek Anderson. Was it McCoy or Ivory that ran into his lineman's back? We almost had a butt fumble. Remember, he had a hole, and instead of hitting the hole, he hit his lineman's ass and flat.
That
on
was
his
McCoy.
face.
The offense,
Yeah.
the offense really tried to get rid of that game earlier than they did. In spite of their best efforts, they stuck with it until the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
There was
McCoy and
Murphy
his-
trying to fumble the kick return, but his elbow came down first. There was that play. There was at least one or two dropped interceptions prior to the pick six. It was just we really tried to lose the game before we did. The defense just said
Milano
no.
almost had a pick six.
Should have.
If he catches that ball, there was green acres in front of him. But I can't even be mad at them for that. Like, it pains me when
Milano almost had a second interception too down near the goal
on the
line.
sideline.
yeah.
Yeah, he almost got that ball. I
it
couldn't
pains
believe
me when I hear Lorenzo Alexander say, and I love Lorenzo, and it pains me when I hear him say it's our goal to keep them under the number of points that our offense scores. And I'm like, you poor man. You would have had to keep them under 5 and 6
Sisyphus pushing a
points.
Derek Anderson up a hill.
Yeah, like he's like, our goal. They did admit that their goal is 17 points. They want to keep teams under 17 points. Newsflash,
You gotta be able to
guys.
score that many.
Newsflash: if you keep teams under 17 points, you've won 2 games this year. Like you can't. It's not sustainable.
Nice random buzzing sound. Sorry for
My
stopping
phone.
talking there. It's
That's
okay.
my phone.
Tick,
Sorry.
tick, 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 tick. But yeah, as you said, Jeff, I think you really worded it well. The offense. I wish it wasn't. I don't need it to be good enough to, especially with your top quarterback hurt, even if it is a rookie. Your top quarterback is hurt. You don't need your offense to go out there and win you games.
Yeah.
You need your offense to go
Like,
out there
I don't
and
care if we're-
score a touchdown.
Yeah,
One. a
Yeah.
touchdown.
I don't care if we're
Hey,
losing. Like
single.
losing is conducive to what we all want. We all want them to get a high pick at this point. The season
Correct.
is a wash. Just put in Peterman, do whatever. I just want to be able to get on my couch on Sunday and watch this team and have fun. I've been tuning out of these games. I've been watching. I mean, not yesterday because there was no other game on. I watched the whole thing, but like Steve, we've talked about it's Red Zone channel. It's watching fantasy. It's like I can't focus.
If I didn't have a friend over watch the game yesterday, I would have turned that shit off and I would have started playing. Actually, no, I think I would have turned it off because they were in it for most of the game. I would turn it off around the pick 6.
Yeah, I would have turned it off at the pick 6. I actually kept it on because I was wondering if they're going to throw the dildos anyway. I'm going to be completely honest with you. The last couple minutes, I'm like, oh, Peterman's in. They might throw some dildos. Let's stick with it. That Hutton save is unbelievable.
Yeah, sorry. I'm
It's so
currently
good.
passing my phone around to
Let's
watch
wrap
Hutton's
this up.
battle
I want to
save.
say a few things. I legitimately feel bad for Derek Anderson.
Yep.
The guy
Old
does
man,
not
he's getting
deserve.
walloped. He's very injured right now.
I
He
hope
took some big hits.
I hope he retires.
He's like going back
I
to
think,
Oregon.
I
Fuck
think
this.
the best thing for him is to not risk any further concussions. He's got a family and a good life ahead of him. Just
Go back to Oregon.
he's not
I feel
at this
bad.
point. If Barkley comes in, it's Barkley, Peterman, Allen. Just
I feel bad because
Just-
he go ahead.
Just bring in a quarterback for like 3 weeks and
Matt
they
Barkley.
get injured and send them out there.
Who's
feel-
the next guy to get
I feel
broken?
bad for-
Come on down.
He's clearly super invested. When they show close-ups out of him at the missed throws or missed plays, like he's pissed or upset over them, and he's super invested. And he's coming to literally probably the worst situation of all time. He came in here at their golf tournament to be, a mentor to 2 young quarterbacks. One played in the very first game, started gets hurt, and then the backup literally puts his way out of the league, and then he's in there with a terrible O-line. He's getting crushed against good teams, But I just feel really bad for him, and we're Buffalo Sports. We do due diligence. Bill signed Terrell Pryor.
Yeah,
How many times do you think they used the word versatility in that press conference?
not enough.
This is a real Brad Smith signing, in my opinion. Receiver, not special teams in this case, but receiver, quarterback.
I don't follow college football that closely. He was an Ohio State quarterback. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know he was converted by the
Browns.
to receiver. The Redskins.
He started his
played.
career as a quarterback in Oakland and played some.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yes,
That he was
yeah.
QB in Oakland.
He holds the record for longest quarterback run in history. He had like a 93-yard quarterback touchdown run.
Wow.
He was his NFL quarterback play was okay. It wasn't great. He's a great athlete, and he's been trying to stick it as a receiver. Had some moments in Cleveland, went to Washington, didn't stick there. Went to the Jets, definitely didn't stick there. But I mean, why not?
How
at
does
this
he look
point?
in shorts?
I don't know. If that's how we're determining personnel signings, he must look great in shorts because they did not waste any time. He was in for a visit yesterday, and he was already back there today signing a contract. So
And also, allegedly, Matt Barkley's coming in tomorrow.
yeah, I would expect him to be the number 2 this week.
So who's the best quarterback on the roster?
Terrell Pryor.
Wait. So we got Terrell Pryor,
Logan Thomas.
and Logan Thomas, and Nathan Peterman.
Corey Bajorquez has
Matt
thrown a pass
Barkley.
this year.
He has a better passer rating than Peterman right now.
Correct.
Who out of those 4?
I would.
Who was the fourth?
Matt Barkley.
Or Josh Allen with his left arm. That's the other option. Sorry.
Allen with his left arm is tempting.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's Pryor. He doesn't know any of the playbook. Just put him back there and run the flex bone. Who cares? Just
Joe
run the
Webb-
triple option the whole time.
Joe Webb had the biggest throw of the game against Indy last year in that snow game.
Yeah.
And who caught that ball? Was it Deontay Thompson?
Yeah.
That one deep ball that was sick. Anyways,
Speaking of Allen, my friend who put me onto the Eichel jersey thing,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're incorrect, told me that he heard that Allen could be out until December.
Just to be clear, Justin has a source that said that Jack Eichel was going to switch his jersey number
About
to
a week
9.
before it was announced.
Before it was announced, and Justin tweeted it out, and a bunch of people were like, sources, they were kind of giving you shit about it.
It's
And
one of
it
those
ended up
sources
being
that you
true.
don't announce because then you never get anything ever again.
Correct. And now in the same way, this source has said that Allen's going to be out until December. So
That's what he heard.
that's yeah.
And then Bean was on somewhere yesterday, I think GR, and did not rule out him missing the rest of the season.
yeah.
I posed
That
the question to you
It's
guys.
fine.
If it gets to be the second week of December and you've got 2 games left,
He's got to play as many games as
I
he
agree.
can.
At this point, you've already put him in
That's
there.
why
You
I'm
have
bummed
to put
about
him
it.
back in there.
I don't think he's. We haven't seen it yet. We can't call him up.
unless I am confident that he is 100%.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
If he is 90% and wants to
Don't
play,
put him
it's a no. If he's 90,
Yeah, if
if he's
there's any hint of injury.
99%, I don't want him to play.
I think what's protecting that idea is that it's his throwing elbow.
Yeah.
That if it wasn't 100%, you're not even going to have him chucking the ball. But maybe
I mean, we were talking about possible Tommy John surgery on this podcast 2 weeks ago when we didn't know exactly what the diagnosis was because of where it was and what it's related to. If shutting him down means that it's frustrating because this takes away the reason to watch the Bills in December if he doesn't play this year.
takes away the reason to watch the Bills going
Right now,
forward from now.
that's true. Well, this Sunday we get to watch Khalil Mack, so we got that going
Yeah.
for us.
I can't
which is
wait
nice.
to watch Peterman this week. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait.
It's
I
like
think
a train
Khalil
wreck.
Mack is just going to pick him up and throw him like a javelin through
This-
the goalpost for 2 points.
this game will literally decide the rest of his life. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
He has a chance to go down as a below-average quarterback or literally the worst professional football player of all time.
and that's why I think it's lumped in that conversation with buzz quarterbacks. 'Cause, like, at least they weren't Nathan Peterman.
It's like, man, at least your Marcus Russell won a couple games.
I found myself. He threw those 2 throws at the end of the game. I found myself hanging on each of those throws, like it was like my life depended on it.
It's like Russian roulette. This is going to be really
it's so-
good or
I'm gonna
really
be-
bad.
It's not going to be every play next week, and I can't wait to feel that feeling.
It's just like a pure adrenaline coursing through your veins. Oh, Peterman's back to throw. What's going to happen this time?
Can you imagine if sports betting was legal in New York? Justin would be placing a prop bet on every
No,
throw.
ESPN streak for the cash needs to get in on this. For every single Peterman throw, there's a prop bet, interception, yes or no.
Yes.
Longest streak wins.
Mm-hmm.
So to recap, we're going to recap. To recap, are we going with Sunday, Bills versus Bears? Sunday evening, Sabres Rangers. We're going with more Peterman picks.
The other
Or
three
more
of us
Sabres
said goals. The three of us said goals. Jeff
Peterman
said picks.
interceptions.
Goals.
Yeah, goals for me.
And I think the Sabres win and score 3 goals. I think Peterman throws 4 picks.
There's 4 picks.
4 picks.
Do you think they keep Min past 3?
This is all assuming
The
he
only
doesn't
other
get-
quarterback on the roster is going to be Matt Barkley,
This
who
is all
does
assuming-
not currently have a copy of the
I
playbook.
think
This
Logan
is all
Thomas
assuming
will
he
go on
doesn't
at
get
that point.
broken because every other quarterback's getting wrecked. He might get broken in the first quarter. Khalil
What's-
Mack might break him in
Yeah.
half in the first quarter.
I will also accept Peterman comes in and gets injured. They bring in Barkley, who also gets injured, and then we find out what Terrell Pryor can do.
Yeah.
Or Thomas.
Terrell Pryor.
Or Hauschka or Bajorquez
Watch
or
the
whoever.
Bills not dress Pryor because he's not ready yet. Watch that stupid
Would
shit
not be
happen.
surprised.
What do you have to lose? Put him out there and tell him get open.
Run,
Like, just
a go route.
get open. Just like in playing
Run
street
in a line.
football.
Yeah,
When the Bills kicked their first or second, I forget when, the long field goal.
They all were long because they
The
couldn't-
one was 50.
consider it.
I don't know. But the one field goal, it was before halftime, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, just fucking go. Just throw
Right.
a fucking fake.
when they took
Like,
the
you're
knee
two and-
with 5 seconds to go.
You're 2
Am
and
I,
shit.
am I dumb for hating the 4th and 18 dump off at the end of the game? Like, fucking throw
And
the
the
ball
3rd and
down
8
the
drop play.
field. Just like, who
in the
cares?
3rd and 8 drop play.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, when they kick that field goal, it's like, dude, throw it 30 yards. If it gets picked off, all it is an arm punt. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
I'm saying you're 2 and shit.
Yeah.
Like, just you're on
Just
Monday Night
go
TV.
for it.
Make it exciting.
Swing for the
Just-
fences.
just
If
try
you
to
if
beat
you
Tom
strike
Brady.
out, you can strike out by swinging for the fences, or you can strike out by hitting 18 foul balls. Like it does, either way, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like I want to see that. Remember the Ryan Denny out wide, fake field goal, just fucking fling it.
Yep.
Ryan Denny, that's a good name.
Remember that one play?
Yeah.
It was
He
easy.
great
acted like
moment.
he was running off the field, but
Yeah.
he was
Stayed on
actually
the
an eligible
sideline. Yeah.
receiver.
Yeah.
That was good.
All right. Find us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. Shout out to John Bucci Gross. and
The real
everyone
MVP
else
of
No,
the
I think
day.
we can just call him
donated.
John now. He's our buddy.
Yeah,
Friend,
John.
friend of
Friend
the pod,
John.
Bucimane.
Bucciamani.
send out an invite. Have him over.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what he's doing next week. Just
Maybe he'll
shoot
come
him,
in
shoot him a
studio.
line.
That's that.
Thanks for listening,
Thanks,
fam.
guys.
Go.
UB's tied up 42-42. Go Bulls.
What's defense? Go Bills.
That game sounds wild right
Go
now.
Sabres. Go Beats.
I can't find the stop button. There
Go